To this special Tuesday edition of the Starting Line Society podcast. We are live tonight with the All Out Call Out preview show, and we are joined by Jeff and Mike. They are all things All Out Call Out. They've been doing this for, what does this make, 15 years, you guys?
15 years, yep.
15 years, and it has evolved into. I mean, I was at the first one. I've been to a couple since then, and I'm going to the one this weekend, and it has snowballed into one of the biggest racing events in the Southwest United States.
Did you see that one coming?
I feel like we don't think we did see it coming. I think we always hoped for it, but yeah, it really crept up over the years. That call out style race got insanely popular really quick.
Yeah, we got laughed at when we first brought it up that we were going to do something like this. You know, there was a lot of buzz, people making fun of it, saying, "Oh, that's gay," and those guys are at everyone now, which is pretty hilarious. So
Yeah.
So was that Paul? Was that Paul that said that?
I don't think it was Paul. It started off just as a part of, how they do the test and tunes on Friday night. It wasn't its own event. It was just kind of tagged on to the test and tune. Like some of the clubs go out there and stuff. Kind of started out like that. How many cars were at the first one, Jeff? Do you remember about how many?
We had like 75, and it was marketed as like an import versus domestic.
Yeah.
We had no idea what the hell we were doing, but we figured, what the heck, let's try it. Nobody really does anything for the slower cars, and we started off with that. Robert gave us a chance. Said, "Here you go, try it on a testing tune," and then he was surprised that we actually got like 75 cars to come out. Jim was pulling his hair because they weren't expecting it. On top of the other test and tune crowd that was there, so
Yeah.
So
It was
take us back to the street racing scene back then, because I mean, we've all been out on the streets and done the Montgomery deals and racing out in Mexico and all that stuff. What was the street racing and track scene like back then, and what made you guys decide that you're just gonna try to brand this race and come up with something that I've been racing for 40 years in Albuquerque, and I've never seen a call out style race or anything like this one anywhere near us.
Well,
So
I think that was obviously the goal, was to make it like a street race in a much safer place where you're not going to get your balls busted by police and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's why our rules or lack thereof, it's kind of modeled after that, just in a much better place to do it.
the street racing scene was more of the roll racing
yeah,
was really big back then. Of course, it all started with 1320 and those guys going to Houston and doing all their video down there. And then other people, kind of caught on and started doing their own thing. We had our local Red Marrow Productions who had a lot of local guys racing on that aspect. And that slowly dripped down into starting to do digs, out on the street. And that's when, we decided, hey, let's take it out to the track, controlled environment. Back then we didn't really see too many bad accidents. I think there was that one with Grayson that one time.
With the Mustang.
Yeah, with the Mustang, and around that time, we decided, hey, let's do something, bring kids out to the track, have them chance to win some money,
Right.
controlled environment.
Yeah.
And let's do some digs.
well, I remember
I roll race myself. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but digs are where it's at, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, I remember Bob had something similar back, when I was working at the drag strip announcing, and this was, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. Probably like the early 2000s to mid 2000s. He had the Southwest Streetcar, something or others. They did the No Bull shootout, and they had like a hot body contest, and they had strippers out there that were dancing, and they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You could race a cop, and those were somewhat popular. But like I said, I've been to the first couple all out call outs, and there were so many people at that. I've been going out that track my whole life, and I've never seen anywhere near that amount of people at the track as I did the first couple of all out call outs that I went to.
For sure. It was really neat to see like a lot of that street racing crowd actually show up for the races too, right? That was kind of the true, like, is this really something people are gonna like? Is this something that they're gonna dig? And seeing the people that were out racing on the street show up for call out, to me was kind of a really cool progression of the race for sure. But yeah, there was a few things that they had done out there that never really stuck. They were cool. I think we all went to that stuff, but for whatever reason, they just never really stuck. And I think having it similar to a street race, the call out style, I think is really what sets us apart from just about any other race. And I don't know, maybe that's what made it. That's what made it stick for us. You know what I mean? I think it's such a unique thing, and it brings out a lot of really fast cars too. So
Yeah, like I said, it also started from the slow guys never got any payouts. If
Right.
it was any kind of race, they were winning $100. Maybe $300 max with enough cars that pitched in. So we figured, hey, let's do something where the slow guys get a chance to win some money. Everybody loves to watch the fast cars. I mean, I love that shit. I live for it. But let's get some of these guys out there, get them a little taste, and then they'll be back. And it's so funny, Paul, because our slowpoke class used to be ridiculous. We'd have 70 cars in it.
Yep.
it was
It
huge.
was huge. And now it's one of our we have like 40 cars, and they've all stepped their game up. There's people who've been racing this pretty much the whole 15 years, and they're like racing in Gatekeeper now,
Yeah.
which is pretty much the new Letter E class, since that class has gotten so fast. But yeah, so it's pretty cool to see everybody's progression and their loyalty sticking to the sport, and continuing on getting faster and faster and faster.
Well,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
there's more than a handful of people that we've seen. They started racing that slowpoke class, and
Right.
like Jeff said, now they're in all the faster classes. That's awesome to see people kind of grow into the race like that. There's people that friggin' build cars specifically for this race, which
Right.
is wild. That blows my mind too. But there's more than a handful of folks that do that one too.
So
Well,
where
let's-
are the people coming from? Are they just here local, or they're across the state, the country?
The
What's
majority are local, but they come from all over the place.
Yeah, the
We get
Southwest.
people, yeah, mostly Southwest. We've had people as far as from Idaho. Yeah,
Michigan.
um,
We had a guy come from Michigan.
Michigan,
Wow.
a lot of Colorado, a lot of Arizona, Texas. All the expected ones. But yeah, every now and then we get some people that show up from someplace way out there.
So let's talk a little bit about the progression, over the years. I mean, obviously, you guys have got, you started out. I think you guys started out over on Eubank to do the drive, and then you guys moved to the pits, and now it's turned into the drag strip. You got to make that, like what is it, like 20-mile drive or something like that?
Yeah.
What does driving? And I mean, obviously, it's proving that your car is able to drive on the street. But what made you guys want to add that element to the race? And I've seen Angelo drive his Nova down the freeway doing 60 miles an hour with a generator strapped to the back of his car so he can make the drive. You know what I mean? They're willing to push the boundaries, to make them street cars. But how did that element add a bit of promiscuity and craziness to the all out call out scene?
I think you nailed it. Like you said, we wanted to make sure that these were even quote unquote street cars to keep things fair-ish, right? Like, yeah, you brought up Angelo. I don't think anybody's done crazier shit than that guy. He had like a water sprayer with swamp cooler pads on his radiator, and we would escort that class. So I'd hear him like shut his engine down, coast it down the hills, and turn it back on. But yeah, the drive is just to kind of cut out some of the trailer queens. And it's always been a streetcar race. So, I mean, we don't go, I mean, there's races where you got to have a working radio in your car and stuff like that. To us,
Right.
if you can make a 15, 20-mile drive, that's a fairly streetable car. And if you got the ingenuity to make your super gas car a street car for the day, then you met the rules. So
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna talk about where like I said, making a super gas car. There's a famous yellow Mustang that made the drive after and I was there for a lot of the adapting this car to be able to go to the all out call out Dominion. Like I said, they strapped the radiator to the top of the car or to the hood, and like I said, Mike were doing crazy stuff to that car to be able to get it to drive, to make that drive. There's a lot of I don't know what the word is. Controversy surrounding that car.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that car's fast.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
very fast, very.
It's just not very safe from what I heard and terrifying to drive. So, I mean,
all the best ones are.
Well,
that's why we give Mike a lot of shit saying, why didn't you drive your car, but that's a handful of a car,
Hey, trust me, and I've been around that car my entire life.
That thing's scary, then I believe him,
Well, and we all know Mike's got the nuts big enough to drive anything with wheels and a lot of things without wheels, So, like I said, it's a fast car, and he came close, real close to winning it, and it just wasn't in the cards for him that weekend. Hopefully someday we'll see it get back out there. Like I said, it's definitely a good car, and it's been a world championship winning Pro 5 car. Way back in its heyday. That heyday is long gone, but long live Dominion.
Yeah.
To go back to the locations of the drive, we started off at NM Imports over there off Aztec at Alex and Stacy's shop, and
right.
We had everybody check in there, and we did our call outs, and then we drive from there, and then we quickly outgrew that area.
Oh.
So we needed a replacement, so we went to Mike's. I think his was Sandy after.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did it one year. I worked at a place called Medi Natura that was closed on the weekends and had a great big parking lot. And we did it there one year or a couple of years maybe. And that it was packed.
And then we went to Sandia Casino, and that was cool. That was our favorite one.
Oh yeah, back when Desert Fest was going on.
Because there was some cover, because some there's some coverage from the sun at that one. It was really cool.
Yeah.
You need approval from the tribal council and all that, and then we did it with Desert Fest, which was awesome. But they kind of underplayed how many people would actually show up to the casino, and they were understaffed, and it pissed them off. Yeah. So we weren't allowed back.
Yeah. The pit was a great spot for fitting everybody.
And then we did the pit after that. The pit was cool.
Yeah.
We had to pay money for that. The pit was cool. And then we just decided, you know what? Why don't we just bring everybody? Because we were having a problem with people who were coming from out of town with their trailers that unload their car. Then, drive the trailers out. We're like, everybody just drive their shit out with the trailer or whatever out to the track, and then we'll make a route and just drive from the track, and everybody's there. And it was a great idea, and it's been working. So
I think that was kind of the impetus. Was the trailers was what was kind of one of the hangups. Yeah, well, we have to come back to get the trailer, and he has to drive this and back and forth, and so I think that was kind of the part of the idea for that, for sure.
Well, I remember the one you guys were talking about on South Eubank. I drove with Anthony Dixon. I think we were in Desperado over to that race, and I remember turning onto that street, and it was an absolute madhouse. There were so many cars and so many. Yeah, that was. What's the largest amount of cars that you guys have had entered in 1 year for the all-out call-out?
We had 250.
250?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was a lot, man. I feel like once you get over 200, it's like exponentially more difficult. Like me and Jeff over the years, I always say, let them race. We shouldn't cap the cars, kind of joking, kind of not. You know what I mean? Let them race. I always say.
Let them race. I'm like, it's a nightmare to manage capping it. Sorry.
Yeah, it makes it
4:00 in the morning.
We got to register all these people too. You know what I mean? They have to come through registration. They have to go through tech. So I mean, I won't admit it to. I'll keep it just between the four of us here, but Jeff's right. Once you get over 200, it gets pretty chaotic, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. And the girls that do the registration, it's tough on them. We're on a spotty Wi-Fi setup out there. Wi-Fi goes down. It's a nightmare. Like, yeah, it's a lot to get all those cars ready to race for sure.
Well, on getting through those pits, when they're, everybody's doing all their call outs and stuff. I remember you guys had us bring the Warlord car out one year, and just trying to get that car backed out to get up there was almost impossible because there was just, and it's a sensory overload being out at the track. And, like I said, I've been out there for 41 years. All Out Call It is one of those races where, like I said, it's just a sensory overload because there's so much going on. There's so many cars. There's so many people. It's a great time. I have fun every year that I go, but like I said, just super sensory overload. I mean, there's so much stuff to do, stuff to eat, stuff to look at. Probably one of the most photographed events in New Mexico outside of Balloon Fiesta, I would assume, just because there's so many pictures and like I said, some of the greatest photos that I've ever seen from our track came from All Out Call Out with the drone shots, and you guys had that guy with the drone that was following the cars down the track. I don't. Other than IHRA, I don't see too many people that are doing that kind of stuff. So I guess that kind of sets you guys apart from a lot of promoters out there. Which, like I said, some of that stuff is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
got a
makes it
question.
fun. It makes it fun to go back to see it and look at it, and
Yeah.
and a lot of the people we use are all locals too. Like the drone guy, Sean is here local, and yeah, we love being able to get involved with people local and get cool stuff and cool shots like that. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
So
what is your best call out story? Oh
Man,
my goodness, you guys are thinking.
there's so many. There's
Well,
so
there's
many.
so
Like,
much going on because we're working, so we're like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we've had so many races where, all of the final races, we've had years where they're all within a tenth, man. And
Ooh.
that's how we love to see it. We love it when it's not a total blowout. We love to see when these guys are just so close on those final races. That's always really cool. And I feel like not last year, but maybe the year before, we had just a wild amount of really close races. But yeah, we've had stuff get really crazy with too many people there, which is why we actually cut back on tickets. It
yeah,
gets wild trying to keep that many people in check, and um,
I believe
yeah, but
2017 we had uh, a hellacious race where New Mexico's a like walk up type place. People don't buy tickets in advance really. They're like, oh, this is going on tonight. Let's go out there. Well,
yeah.
yeah.
we had gate sales back then, and we had probably over almost 6,000 people out there.
What?
Nowhere to put them. Nowhere to
They
park.
they were parked all the way
down
down to Bobby Foster.
All the way down to
And-
the bridge, both sides. They had all of the, that was, there was only one lane to go in, one lane to go. I remember that was a wild year for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that
Jim
was
had
definitely
a really
crazy.
bad accident, and his car caught on fire. And
Oh
man.
yeah, Jim
So
Costa.
that was that. I literally went home and I wept because
Mm.
I was like, I cannot believe all this went on. And so after that, we learned a really big lesson about managing things and keeping the count of people down. And one of my most memorable call-offs, I love it when we brought in the Nitro
Yeah.
nostalgic money cars. I mean,
Ray Stringer and the
anybody
blown Sentless funny
who's
car.
never, I mean, it's the closest thing to a top fuel, but even though those are like small blocks, some of them, and they're running nitro, they're loud, you can feel it. It's amazing. So having them come into exhibition is always a treat, but we've tried to get them in the past, but there's, they're booked up before we decide we're going to do something. So,
Yeah.
we hope to have them back again. It was always cool having Ray and, Lyle out there. They put on a show. Those cars are awesome. I'd
Cone
like to get a
Hunter.
real top fuel, but I don't think it'll ever get down our track personally. But it'd be
Hey.
cool to see.
Lyle went 598 in the quarter mile at 260 miles an hour. So that's impressive. For sure, for sure. But I do
Yeah.
know, like I said, I'm really good friends with Lyle and Ray. I talk to them a lot, and that's one of their most memorable races that they've been able to come and show out for the crowd is all out call out. They really do enjoy that.
Oh yeah, they
Um,
had a mob around those cars, man. People were
Yeah,
just
there's
so
nothing
enthralled.
better. I would take my daughter and her friends, and when they're going to gas it up, just to get them in the nitro cloud, they have no idea what they're getting into.
Oh, I know what that
They're
feels
like,
like.
"What are you doing? What?" They're all crying and
yeah,
choking, and I'm like, "Man, that's what it's about."
His daughter, he
So
did that
yeah,
to me in
it's probably
Arizona.
one of my most memorable as far as bringing those guys in. As far as our local racers, they're all awesome. We love having them come out. Everything. The races are so close. Towards the end of the evening, when you start getting down to semis and stuff, you're gonna watch some really good door to door racing.
really close
Yeah.
racing, especially index racing. And index racing is always good. So when
Mm-hmm.
they're super tight and it's super close racing like that, it always makes for a good time. Especially when and there's no breakouts in the final round, right? Like they can run it all out.
No, we had to change that because we got a lot of sandbaggers coming in
Okay,
and waiting for that to do it.
Yep.
And then there's that fine line where, Jim's all like, that dude doesn't have, it's not certed. He doesn't have his license to do that, and I don't want to deal with any of that.
yeah,
Everybody outlaw track, that would be awesome, but we're not one,
right.
so we got to abide by NHRA or IHRA rules or whatever sanction we are at the time of the year.
Yeah. um, evolution of the classes. Build. How did you guys come up with? Like I said, you've got the slow pokes and the let it eats, and how did you guys come up with these different kind of classes to kind of make it obtainable for everybody? I mean, obviously not everybody's gonna be able to run right on the number, but it seems like you guys have found a pretty good balance between each class having an index number that most of them can run on. So how did you guys come up with those classes?
Well, like
Honestly,
Jeff
Paul,
said, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
honestly, some of it was just random. I just didn't want it what everybody else was doing. I didn't want it, the classes that all the other races were doing for index racing. I wanted to be off a little bit in case somebody came from somewhere that's used to racing like that. They got to work at it and make some adjustments for this race.
Right.
So that's basically why. And we wanted it far enough apart that there's something for everybody to join. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, and make it competitive for even the slow pokes. Those guys can come out and make $1,500 too. But like Jeff calls it, it's the gateway drug, man, to the all out call out. And so you have an entry point and then progressions for people to make. And then the Let It Eat class got just freaking insane. Like it used to be, if you had a 9-second car, you were pretty competitive for Let It Eat. And
Right.
then, you got Ricky Daniels, dragging it down into the eights, Mike Keenan even further, the Hosny team. And it just got nuts. Where we had people in the sevens in that class. And so we realized, it kind of opened up a chasm between, the heavy hitters was a 10-20 class. And now Let It Eats in the freaking high sevens, low eights.
No,
So that's
it's
why we
pretty tough.
decided to do the gatekeeper class to kind of close that gap a little bit. Which
Yeah.
we lost some of the Let It Eat cards to that gatekeeper class, but they're still racing with us and they're still out there, so it's awesome.
Well, I
Yeah, and
guess.
that Let It Eat class, it's just gotten. You got Keenan knocking 6.9s. He's probably ran one. He's been over 200 miles an hour. He's right there in the
On
street
our
car.
track at this elevation.
He's right there with them. These guys, it's crazy with what technology's done and their tuning abilities and their knowledge with setting up their chassis with these cars. And it's really impressive. And especially up at our altitude, when we have 8,000-foot DAs this time of the year plus,
Yeah.
and the track is an equalizer too. It's difficult. Hot in the day, it's greasy, it cools down quick at night.
Yep.
Got to make those adjustments, and these guys have it. I don't blame some of these out of town guys scared to come race them, But hey, we're calling you out.
So when you guys sit down together, is it like a couple weeks after that you kind of go over and hey, what worked, what didn't work, and how can we make it better? What is that meeting like?
Actually, we have a little after party
They
on
do.
that
It
Sunday
gets it
afterward.
gets wild.
It's kind of like our bitch session, but we get to have some drinks and food.
Yeah.
And we like to hear what everybody's input is there. And we'll take some notes and we'll go from there if we need to talk about it further or correct something or come up with different ideas of how to fix it, make it better.
Yeah, we've got a pretty healthy group text going between the group too, and that stuff gets talked about all year, man. A lot of people think that it's you get ready for the race, a month or two before. It's all year, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot, especially Jeff running the website and everything, and we're trying to hustle sponsors as much as we can, and yeah, we used to be able to do it a couple months before the race. It ain't like that anymore. It's a lot of
It's
work.
an all year thing to do too, and we all work full time jobs.
Yeah.
All of us. So this is we don't have to do this. I don't make a lot of money at it. It's just I do it for the racers, for something for them to come and do, and everybody enjoys it. That keeps me going. That these guys love to come out. I'll threaten once in a while. I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing it anymore. But these guys talk me into keep going.
Well, and you guys
the mafia. There's no getting out now. It's too late.
Well, yeah, and you guys have a massive group. I mean, obviously, of people that help. I know Amanda's been around for a long time, and you guys have gotten like I said, a huge group of people that have been with you almost this entire time. So I'm sure that if you even try to walk away, they would probably kidnap you and lock you in a basement or something.
Yeah, we're family. We're pretty close. We have 25 of us that have been doing this for a long time, and they come every race. We have people that lived in Alaska that moved away that were in the military. They come back. They make sure that they have these 2 days off a year to come out, to help us out. It's amazing.
Dedication, yeah.
And it's an ass-kicking day that day.
It is because of our sponsors and all these guys working day of the race. I work my ass off leading up to marketing, taking care of all the technical stuff and administration and whatsoever. But so I usually, and these guys want me to, they're like, Jeff, please race, because I'm kind of a pain in the ass if I have an earpiece on.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, please let Jeff be racing, because I won't have an earpiece and I can race, and these guys take care of it that day for me, so I can kind of relax and enjoy the race. But I'm still watching though.
Yeah, being a business owner, I definitely understand that it is hard to, kind of let go and relax a little bit. But sometimes, you just gotta take that leap. And like I said, they've been doing it for so long that I'm sure that even if you were racing, they probably wouldn't even, know that you were gone. They'd just be doing their, the usual stuff. So maybe it's a sign, Jeff. Maybe you should be racing.
Yeah, everybody kind of falls into their roles on day of the race. Like you said, we've been doing it for so long, and our core group is awesome. And everybody just kind of knows their role, and and not freaking out when shit gets wild, which it always does every year. Something always comes up. A situation that we never had a rule for, or so being able to not fold up like a lawn chair and kind of problem solve the best we can after we've been in the sun for 12 hours and not eaten and dehydrated and
I'm sure it can be challenging at sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's a long day. We, like Jeff said, we have our core group of people, and every now and then people kind of want to come check it out, and we'll get a volunteer that'll come and help. And cool, I get to go hang out at the race all day. There's no hanging out, man. It's hustling. You're working your ass off. So sometimes we get people come in and they kind of disappear, and that's okay.
Yeah. I get on the radio and start calling them. Yeah. Talk about how the pairing and call out process works. It's not just random matchmaking. It's about strategy. And I mean, it really is when it comes down to it, especially in some of these classes. People have been around for a long time, or people that know about index racing. I'm saying it can definitely play an equalizing role in how the race goes down, who wins, who loses, all based on the call out style that you guys have implemented in your race program.
Absolutely. And you get we had a good group of awesome bracket racers that we have, and a lot of those guys thought they would be able to come in and just dominate call out, and it doesn't always work that way. You know, they have a lot of seat time, and they're definitely forces to be reckoned with. But there's people that have mastered our format too. You know,
Mm.
so and you know the call out part is kind of like you said, it's a really good equalizer. And everybody's got a different strategy, man. Some people want to go right for the fast guys. They want to call out who they think is the fastest. Let's get this over with. And some people want to go round, so they call out who they think the slowest is. And sometimes neither of those people are who they thought they were. And you got guys like Jeff that go after the stick cars first. And yeah, there's a lot of strategy to it, man. There's it's not just racing the car, it's the strategy of the call out. It's like you said, that like being just inundated and overstimulated all day, and the heat is like another vehicle that you have to race against. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
it's one more opponent for you on a race day. So, but
I'll give you an example. Sarah Pennington, she's in the
Yeah.
slowpoke class. She's very strategic. She will
Oh, yeah.
go up and down the lanes, look at every car, look at the tires, see what kind of tires they have, and then she'll make a judgment from there. Like, I'm going to call this guy out. He's on street tires,
Yeah.
and a stick car or whatever. And I don't blame her. Who doesn't want to move up in the race?
Yeah.
That's the game. That's how you play. So there's a lot of people do that. There's also teams that go out there and make sure they
Oh,
don't call each other out. And they
interesting
gang up
elements.
until they're at the end, and they make
Yeah.
somebody will lose on purpose to make sure their buddy gets to go to the finals. I mean, there's things like that going on. I mean, it's strategic, and it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but it can get down to it. I'll tell you what, we're going to announce something tomorrow that could end up being very strategic for a certain class.
Oh,
That
this
could
is the
end up crazy.
this is that pot you guys were talking about stirring on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, stay tuned for big news from the All Out Call Out tomorrow. But it's interesting you guys were talking about strategies because two names came to mind. First one was obviously Sarah. She, like I said, she's won it. How many times has she won it? Twice now?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
she's
she's
on
like, I thought she was 3 now, isn't she?
It might be 3, but I don't know. I bought a bunch of tiaras and she has them.
Yeah.
Or maybe she was in the finals for that third one. She was in the
Yeah,
final
she's
race,
always
maybe.
somewhere
Yeah.
up there. She didn't win it. She's in the finals or the semis.
And then the other name that comes to mind is KOAT's weatherman Eric Green.
Yeah.
Eric is again not a bracket racer by any means. And I've known Eric for a long time. I've been fortunate enough to drive a couple of his cars down the track. He's a super nice guy, and when he gets in that car and he's in his zone, dude, he's on a whole nother level of getting it done. It's ridiculous sometimes to watch him race because he's
And
so.
he was one of the very few people, when we had the instant green for a few races, that was
Yep.
super polarizing, right? Some people loved it, some people hated it. And Eric would tell us, he wasn't crazy about it, but holy shit, did he master it? You know what I mean? He's like, this is the rule. What are you going to do? And he figured it out. And he was beating bracket racers at
Yep.
that instant green, man. He was a beast. Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. The equalizer in the Insta Green is the tree makes it come on at different times, so you can't time it, you can't count it, you can't do any of that stuff. It's all random.
Oh.
And I
Yeah.
love the idea, and I have some racers that just love it, but we had to get rid of it. It was creating way too many problems and reruns, and the timing system was messing up, or I don't know what. Mike has usually deal with all that shit, but it was too
Yeah.
much. We're like, we're getting behind. This is ridiculous. Let's just go back to the pro tree. You
Oh.
know,
One thing everybody can definitely be assured of. I can assure you that 99.9% of the time it's definitely not a timing malfunction. They very rarely ever get it wrong. And I mean, I've seen races where it's triple zeros all the way across the board, reaction time, margin over or under, and somehow it was like, all right, well, this guy won. But it was down to certain calculations. I don't know how it is, but timing systems are very rarely ever wrong. But yes, the Instagreen is definitely a huge equalizing factor. I'm no good at it. I'll red light every time because I'm trying to guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need some yellow lights to look at.
You and about 80% of people probably guess on instant green.
Yeah.
All right, so one class that we would like to talk about that I think it's new for this year, and it's a very popular class in drag racing. It's probably more popular than small tire, big tire. I think the only one that's close to it right now is the 29 or the Outlaw 10-5 class, which seems to be making a huge comeback. But that's the 5-3 syndicate that you guys are doing this year.
Yeah, that's an off the trailer. There's no test hits. 530 index, 8th mile. It's a heads up like our other races. Still have the call out like the other races. And then the tire rule, the 275 radials or the 28 1050s. And then of
10-5s, yeah.
course the no wheelie bar. But yeah, that's an off the trailer class, so it's pretty interesting.
Now that
Yeah,
5-3
we wanted to mix
syndicate,
it up.
is that tube chassis or is it you have to have stock style suspension?
I
Or
don't even know. But
there is there a
there's
chassis
no-
rule?
There is no chassis rule on that class. Well, I think there is, because there's no pro mods or any of that stuff allowed. I mean, it's a 5.3 index. Don't break out. Heads up. Off the trailer. No test passes. 8th mile. No drive. Boards are on. That's different than other 5.3 classes.
Yeah, they do blackout.
We have a crowd out there. They want to see the times.
They do.
You know what I mean? And I mean, these guys, nobody's gambling on this, I don't think, at our race. So, and it's call out style, which is another twist that the 5.3s aren't like. Usually, I think they do chip draw, right? Well, we're gonna ours is call out style. The buy runs must finish the cross line. Got to comply with NHRA safety rules for the ET. Pro mod style bodies prohibited. Must be a real door car. Radials 275. 60-15 is permitted, or a bias ply tire 25 by 10.5. No motorcycle, rental cars, dragsters, roadsters, none of that. No delay boxes.
Rental car.
Throttle stops and no wheelie bars.
You would be
That's
surprised
pretty
how
cool.
many people rent the car and go out to the track and race that moment.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
had
because
them
think
out
about it. If you're in the slowpoke class, you could go rent a sports car and beat the piss out of it if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna take my street car out there and
It
race. I
didn't
mean,
work.
I like to drive my car. I don't want to break it. And drag racing seems to break parts a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to this 5-3 syndicate class. It does seem to be the most popular, like I said, most popular race. You said you guys don't do betting on the starting line at the call out?
I mean, some people do. I've seen it, but the last time I saw people betting, it turned into a shit show, and there was fights, and we're not having that. So
Oh, see, it must be a New Mexico thing because they do that at Bounty Hunters and Winter Meltdown in Odessa. And I mean, dude, money goes up, somebody takes it, and if they win, they get it. It's ridiculous how crazy it is out there in Odessa. They bet on that 5-3 stuff all the time. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's just a massive. When you go down to other tracks that do this 5-3, it's
Yeah.
massive. There's lots of cars. So I'm hoping, what I'm saying, that there'll be a good showing for the all out call out.
yeah, I mean, who knows if they're betting in the crowd or not, whatever. But from what I've seen at the starting line here, it doesn't really happen.
I can imagine that it
doesn't
might
end up
cause some
well 'cause
issues.
somebody doesn't want to pay, or there's an excuse.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do a little remembering. I mean, obviously, all out call out. It's been around for 15 years, but I think that all three of us will agree that the time all out call out really became something synonymous with New Mexico and having, like I said, just the amount of people that you guys have a cult following. Lots of people come out. It's a sold out race every year, and that's Kyle Loftus in 1320 video. Talk about how Kyle changed the landscape of drag racing and the streetcar culture globally, and how without his lens, events like All Out Call Out probably wouldn't be where it is today, and had beyond, like I said, just a massive scale.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah,
man. Kyle, started out just out in Nebraska, went out filming him some street races and stuff, and then he, had some friends in Oklahoma. He went out there and kind of got those street outlaw guys on the maps, and he started traveling, and it turned into a thing. He left his great paying job to take a gamble and let's do this. I had contacted him out of the blue when we started this. I'm like, hey, we have an event. There's also a lot of that roll racing stuff was going on at that time. I'm like, come on out. I'll pay for your guys' crew to stay in a hotel. Come out and check out our race. And he came out and he loved it. He loved the people. He loved it out here. And he came back a few times, and it started getting really popular after that. So, we have huge thanks to Kyle for helping us, and it turned into a great friendship with him. He came out for my 50th birthday, which was during COVID. That was a huge surprise when him and Matt came out. Opened up, surprise, there was a party, and there's Kyle and Matt there. I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, it's great human being. He's done amazing things for the drag racing world and racing, period.
Oh yeah, he put so many different things on the map. I mean, like Jeff said, Street Outlaws, Cletus McFarlane,
Yeah.
us. He was just such a. He just wanted to see other people do well. He genuinely wanted cool shit for other people, and it showed. And yeah, so like like we were talking about earlier, one of the goals is definitely to bring the street racing crowd to our race. And 1320, especially back then, that was the epitome of the street racing crowd. So for
Right.
them to just show up at our race, and people to come and grab a t-shirt or get to meet one of the guys, that was like a huge draw for us. Absolutely. So yeah, he was just an amazing person, huge heart. Love the sport and love the people in the sport too, and just really selfless. He just loved to lift other people up. And yeah, it's definitely a loss. We were hit pretty hard with that one. That was out of left field for sure.
Definitely out of left field. Yeah, it's super shocking. I think you guys got some event merch going on this weekend that has something about Kyle on it, right? Something about honoring Kyle or something.
Oh yeah, we got him on t-shirt.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jacob Lee, who designs a lot of the 1320s shirts, does our shirts as well. And we were like, can you get a little nod to Kyle in there, and no problem. He knocked it out of the park. It's a great.
Well, yeah. So and yeah, like I said, I've been to a lot of those races in past. I haven't been in a couple years, but I remember them. They were at the Dino Day, because I mean all of the events that came to be because or associated. Like I said, Desert Fest and the Dino Day at the Dino Edge, and like all these events that you guys, like I said, it just kind of sort of became this massive family of racing events, and hopefully at some point in time they can bring Desert Fest back. I hear there's talk of it, but
There's rumors. We're all pushing hard for it for sure.
that definitely would be cool. Desert Fest was like I said, all out call out. Desert Fest went hand in hand for very
Yeah,
many
it
years.
made it like a whole weekend long
Yeah.
event. You have the race all day Saturday, and then you have the show all day Sunday, and it made it a real like destination weekend for anybody who was into cars for sure.
Exactly. It was for car enthusiast weekend. You got the people who like the car shows, and and you got people who like the racing. They could do both or either or, and it worked out really great. And if Desert Fest people don't want to bring it back, and I get it, everybody's lives move on and they're busy and stuff. We are more than open to talk to, what's that, Low Society or any of those other guys that come here and do shows. We can collaborate something and make a big weekend. So
I think
Absolutely.
that would be. I think that would be cool. I think that would be a great idea. Like I said, make the weekend complete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all out call out this Saturday at Albuquerque Dragway. What time do the gates open?
4:00.
So spectator gates open at 4:00. Albuquerque Dragway. You can find all of the information about this race on the Facebook page, All Out, or the Facebook page, website, All Out Call Out. We want to thank Mike and Jeff for coming on. I know you guys got a very busy week and a very busy weekend. I wish you guys nothing but success. I hope it's a great weekend. I will be out there doing media on Saturday with Hillary, so I'll make sure to come by and talk to you guys. Jeff, we saw each other Friday. Was it Friday night? Yeah, last Friday night. But yeah, nothing but success. I hope you guys have a great time.
And safe.
Yeah, lots of safety, and like I said, just a great weekend.
I say
Absolutely.
one last thing.
Yeah.
Tickets are going fast, guys. So make sure you go to M&F Auto. All locations. There's one in Rio Rancho if you don't want to have to drive in town. They have tickets. Yearwood Performance has tickets. AllOutCallout.com. It will sell out. So get your tickets. I mean, they go up in price day of, so don't wait.
Ooh.
Corey, Paul, thank you for having us on. This is amazing. You guys are.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for coming on.
All right.
Really
you guys.
appreciate it.
You guys will hang out for just a second so I can tell you what to do after we're done with the podcast. Yeah, this has been the Starting Line Society. We are out for this Thursday. This was our show for this week. Stay tuned for something coming next week. I'm not sure who the guests are going to be, but me and Corey will come up with something cool. But we will see you guys next Thursday right here on the channel, 7 p.m. This is Paul, and that's Corey. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you next week.
Yeah,
Eat the
next
track.
week.
Okay, I got to play some music here real quick.
Yeah, boy.